The first time I heard the shower, it was exactly 3:33 in the morning. And the strange part wasn't the sound. It was where it was coming from, because the entire floor above me was supposed to be empty. This happened a few years ago when I was in my second year of college. Our university had several dorm buildings, but during summer break, most students went home. Only a small number of us stayed, mostly people who had summer classes, internships, or nowhere else to go. I was one of them. The dorm I stayed in had 5 floors, but during the summer, they only kept 2 floors open to save electricity and maintenance costs. The 3rd, 4th, and 5th floors were officially closed. Lights off, rooms locked. No students allowed. At least that's what they told us. I lived on the 2nd floor. There were only 4 other students on my entire floor, 2 guys at the end of the hallway, and a couple who stayed in the corner room near the stairwell. Most nights the building felt almost abandoned. The hallways were quiet, the vending machines hummed. Sometimes you could hear pipes inside the walls, but that was about it. It was peaceful. Until the night I woke up at 3:33 a.m. I remember checking my phone because the sound had woken me up. It was faint at first, like water running through pipes. But then I realized what it actually was: a shower, water hitting tile. A steady rushing sound. At first, I didn't think much of it. Old dorm buildings made weird noises all the time. Pipes, air vents, water pressure changes. So I turned over in bed and tried to go back to sleep. But then something strange happened. The sound got louder. Not because the pipes were vibrating. It sounded like the shower was directly above my room. And that's when I remembered something. My room was on the 2nd floor, which meant the room above me was on the 3rd floor. And the 3rd floor was closed for the summer. I sat up in bed, just listening. The shower kept running. Steady. Uninterrupted. For several minutes. At first I assumed maintenance workers were using the showers upstairs. Maybe a janitor or someone fixing plumbing. But something about the timing felt strange. Why would maintenance be taking a shower at 3:33 in the morning? Eventually the sound stopped. Just like that. The pipes went silent, and the building returned to its usual quiet. I shrugged it off. Dorms were weird. Old plumbing did strange things, and honestly, I was too tired to care. So I went back to sleep. The next night, it happened again, exactly 3:33 a.m. I woke up to the same sound: water hitting tile. A shower running directly above my room. This time I checked my phone immediately. 3:33. Not 3:30. Not 3:35. Exactly 3:33. I lay there staring at the ceiling. Listening. The water ran for about 5 minutes. Then it stopped, just like the night before. Now, I was curious. The next morning I mentioned it to one of the guys down the hall. His name was Eric. I asked him if he heard the shower running upstairs during the night. He frowned. Upstairs? Yeah, on the 3rd floor. Eric looked confused. Dude, that floor is locked. I know. Maintenance doesn't even go up there unless something's broken. I laughed a little. Maybe someone stayed there anyway. He shook his head. No way. Then he added something that made my stomach feel a little strange. They shut the water off up there. I blinked. What do you mean? To save money during summer. They turn off electricity and water to the closed floors, so nobody accidentally uses them. For a moment, neither of us said anything. Then I forced a small laugh. Well, someone definitely used the shower last night. Eric shrugged. Probably pipes or something. Old building, stuff echoes. And honestly, that explanation made sense. So again, I tried not to think about it, but the third night changed everything. I woke up suddenly. Before I even checked my phone, I already knew what time it was because I heard it again. The shower running upstairs louder than before. I grabbed my phone. 3:33 a.m. My room was completely dark, but the sound above me was unmistakable. Water hitting tile. Draining. Running hard. Like someone had turned the shower on full pressure. And this time, it didn't stop after 5 minutes. It kept going. 5 minutes. 10 minutes. 15 minutes. I sat there in bed, just listening. And that's when I noticed something that made my stomach drop, because mixed with the sound of the water, I thought I heard something else. Something faint, something almost hidden under the noise. Footsteps. Walking slowly across the floor above me. And that's when I started wondering something I wish I had never thought about. If the third floor was locked and the water was turned off, then who exactly was taking a shower up there at 3:33 in the morning? And the worst part, that was the first night I decided to go upstairs and check. The next morning I couldn't stop thinking about it. At first I tried to ignore the whole thing. Dorms make weird sounds. Pipes echo. Old buildings settle. But there was one detail that kept bothering me. The time. It was always 3:33 a.m. Not around that time. Not sometime during the night. Exactly 3:33. And the more I thought about it, the stranger it felt. Because the third floor wasn't just empty. It was locked. Later that afternoon, I went to the front desk. The dorm office was mostly empty during summer. Only one staff member usually worked during the day. That day it was a woman named Karen. She handled most of the housing stuff. Key cards, maintenance requests, basic dorm questions. I tried to sound casual. Hey, quick question. She looked up from her computer. Yeah? Is maintenance working on the third floor this week? She frowned slightly. The third floor? Yeah. She shook her head. No, it's closed until August. Then she added something that made my chest tighten. Why? I hesitated. For a second I thought about just dropping it. But instead I said it. I think someone might be up there at night. She stared at me for a moment. Then she laughed softly. No one's up there, I promise. The doors are locked. Only staff has access. I nodded slowly. Right, but I keep hearing a shower running. Her expression changed slightly. A shower? Yeah. Like around 3 in the morning. She turned fully in her chair now. What time exactly? I shrugged. Like 3:30 or something. I didn't know why I lied. Maybe because saying 3:33 out loud sounded ridiculous. She thought about it for a moment. Then she shook her head again. That's not possible. The water on that floor is shut off. That sentence stayed with me the rest of the day. The water is shut off, meaning even if someone somehow got inside, the showers shouldn't work at all. That night I told myself I wasn't going to think about it anymore. Watched a movie on my laptop. Talked with Eric for a while in the hallway. Around midnight, the building got quiet again. Everyone went to sleep. Eventually, I did too. And then I woke up. The same way as before. Suddenly, like something had pulled me out of sleep. The room was dark. My phone screen lit up when I picked it up. 3:33 a.m. And right on cue. I heard it. The shower. Loud. Clear. Running full force above my room. I sat up slowly. My heart was beating faster now, but this time I wasn't just curious. I was annoyed, because if someone had broken into the closed floor and was just using the showers every night, that was actually kind of messed up. And honestly, kind of creepy. So I decided something. I was going to check the hallway outside. My room was dark and quiet. The lights were dimmed at night to save power. The carpet muffled my footsteps. Everything felt unusually still. Almost too quiet. At the end of the hall was the stairwell. The door opened with a soft metal creak. Inside, the stairwell light flickered slightly. The sound of the shower was louder here, echoing faintly through the walls. Definitely coming from above. I walked up to the third floor door. And immediately noticed something strange. There was a large metal bar across the door. A security lock. It kept students from opening it. But that wasn't the strange part. The strange part was the sound. Standing right outside the door now, I could hear the shower clearly. Water blasting against tile, just on the other side of that floor. And suddenly something about the situation felt wrong. Very wrong. Because if someone was up there, they had to have gotten in another way. Stood there for a moment just listening. The water kept running. Steady. Uninterrupted. Then I noticed something else. The door itself. It wasn't fully sealed. There was a small gap between the frame and the door, and through that gap I could see light. A faint yellow glow from the hallway above, but that floor was supposed to have no electricity. My stomach tightened. I don't know why, but suddenly I felt nervous, like I shouldn't be standing there, like someone might open the door at any second. I leaned closer to the gap, just trying to see inside. The hallway upstairs looked empty. Dim, but definitely lit. Then I heard something that made my entire body freeze. Because mixed with the sound of the shower, I heard movement. Footsteps. Heavy. Walking across the floor. Someone was definitely up there, and they were moving toward the stairwell door, right where I was standing. I stepped back immediately. My heart was pounding now. Waited. Listening. The footsteps got closer. Then they stopped, right on the other side of the door, completely still. The shower upstairs kept running, but whoever was inside the third floor was now standing directly on the other side of the door from me. For several seconds, neither of us moved. Then something happened that made my stomach drop, because the door handle on the other side slowly began to move, like someone was trying to open it. But the metal security bar stopped it. The handle twisted once, twice, then stopped, and then, from the other side of the door, I heard something very quiet, almost a whisper. A voice, low, calm, right on the other side of the door, and it said just 3 words. "You're early tonight." For a moment I thought I had imagined the voice, but I knew I hadn't, because I was standing less than a meter from the door, and whoever said it was standing directly on the other side. "You're early tonight." The words were quiet, calm, almost casual, like they were talking to someone they expected to see. But the problem was, I had never been there before. My heart was beating so hard, I could feel it in my throat. I didn't say anything. I just stood there in the stairwell, frozen, listening. The shower upstairs was still running. The sound echoed faintly through the hallway above, but the person behind the door wasn't moving anymore. Just standing there, waiting. I took a slow step back. The metal stairs creaked slightly under my weight. And the moment the sound echoed in the stairwell, the voice spoke again, this time a little louder. "You usually come later." Every instinct in my body told me to leave. So I did. I turned around and walked down the stairs as quietly as I could. I didn't run. Not yet, but my chest felt tight, like my body was already preparing to. Back in my room, I locked the door. Then I sat on my bed, just staring at the wall. My brain kept replaying the same sentence. "You're early tonight?" What did that even mean? Early for what? And why did they sound like they already knew me? I barely slept the rest of the night. Every small noise in the building made me look at the door. Elevator. Pipes. Footsteps in the hallway. Around 6 in the morning, I finally passed out. Later that day, I went straight to the dorm office. Corinne was there again, the same as before, typing something on her computer. I walked up to the desk. "I need to tell you something." She looked up. Concerned this time. "What happened?" I hesitated for a second. Then I told her everything. The shower. The time. The locked door and the voice. When I finished speaking, she didn't laugh like the day before. Instead, she just stared at me. Quiet. Thinking. Then she slowly stood up. "Come with me." We walked back toward the stairwell together. My stomach felt tight again. The third floor door looked exactly the same. Metal security bar still locked in place. Corinne examined it for a moment. Then she took a key from her pocket. "This shouldn't take long." The metal bar lifted with a loud clank. For the first time since summer started, the door to the third floor opened. The hallway beyond it was completely dark. Corinne reached inside and flipped the light switch. Nothing happened. She tried again. Still nothing. "See?" she said. no electricity. Then she stepped inside. I followed a second later. The air up there felt different. Still stale, like the floor hadn't been used in weeks. The hallway stretched out in both directions. Dorm room doors lined the walls, all closed, all silent. Karen walked toward the communal bathroom. Halfway down the hall, I followed close behind. And the entire time one thought kept repeating in my head. The shower had been running last night. For at least 20 minutes. When we reached the bathroom door, Karen pushed it open. The room was dark, completely dry. Every shower stall was empty. The tiles were dusty. Like nobody had used them in weeks. Karen turned to me. See? No water, no electricity, no one here. She was right. Everything looked abandoned, but something about the room felt wrong. Then I noticed it. Something small, something that made the back of my neck tighten. Because on the floor, near the drains, there were footprints, bare footprints. Dark marks in the dust on the tile. Karen hadn't noticed them yet. She was already walking back toward the hallway, but I stayed where I was. Looking down. The footprints were fresh. Clear. And they were leading out of the bathroom. Down the hallway, away from the showers. I followed them with my eyes. They went across the hallway floor, then disappeared around the corner. Karen called from down the hall. You coming? I hesitated. Then I turned and followed her back toward the stairs. But my mind was racing now, because those footprints were bare. Feet. No shoes. No socks. Just wet feet walking across the dusty floor. Downstairs. Karen locked the door again. The metal bar dropped into place. She looked at me. There's no one up there. Then she added something that made my stomach drop. And there hasn't been anyone assigned to those rooms since May. I nodded slowly, but I didn't tell her about the footprints. I don't know why. Maybe because something deep down told me this wasn't a problem maintenance could fix. That night I tried to stay awake. I told myself I wouldn't fall asleep. I sat at my desk watching videos on my laptop. Midnight passed. Then 1 in the morning. Then 2. Eventually my eyes started closing. Just for a second. Then another. And before I realized it, I had fallen asleep. I woke up suddenly. My room was completely silent. I grabbed my phone. And my stomach immediately dropped. 3:33 a.m. But this time something was different. Because I couldn't hear the shower, the building was completely quiet. For a moment, I thought maybe it had finally stopped. Maybe whoever was up there was gone. But then I heard something else. A sound much closer than before. A slow drip, drip, drip. Somewhere in the hallway outside my room. I got up slowly and opened my door. The hallway lights were dim. Everything looked normal at first. But then I saw it. A trail of wet footprints on the carpet. Bare footprints. Starting at the stairwell and leading directly down the hallway toward my room. And the last footprint stopped right outside my door. Asterisk. For a few seconds I just stood there in the doorway, staring at the footprints. They were still wet, dark marks pressed into the carpet. Bare feet, human feet, and they stopped right outside my door. The hallway was silent, completely silent. I slowly looked left, then right, no one was there. The stairwell door at the end of the hall was closed. Everything looked normal, except for the footprints. My heart was pounding now because there was only one explanation. Whoever made those footprints had walked down the hallway, stopped at my door, and then stood there. I stepped out into the hallway, carefully, almost expecting someone to jump out from around the corner. But the hallway was empty. The footprints didn't continue past my door. They didn't go into another room. They just ended right where I was standing. Then I heard it, very faint, a soft drip behind me. Inside my room, every muscle in my body tightened, slowly. I turned around. The room looked the same as I left it, desk, bed, top still open. But something felt wrong. Then I saw it, a small wet footprint on the tile near my sink, just one, bare, and fresh. Someone had been inside my room. While I was asleep, I stepped inside slowly. The air felt colder somehow. Looked around the room again. Closet door closed. Bathroom empty. Window locked, Everything looked normal, but the footprint was still there. A small pool of water around it, still dripping, drip, 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 Then something else caught my attention, my laptop screen, It wasn't on the video I had been watching before I fell asleep. The screen was black, with a small blinking cursor, like someone had opened a document. I walked closer, my hands were shaking now, and when I looked at the screen, I felt my stomach drop, because someone had typed something, just one line, in the center of the page. You weren't supposed to wake up. I slammed the laptop shut. My heart was racing now. This wasn't some plumbing problem. Someone had been upstairs. Someone had come downstairs, and someone had been inside my room. I grabbed my phone immediately. I was about to call campus security, but before I could dial anything, I heard a sound from the hallway. Footsteps. Slow. Wet footsteps. Walking across the carpet again. My entire body froze, because the footsteps weren't going away. They were coming back toward my room. Drip, step, drip, step, closer, gun. They stopped right outside my door, exactly where the footprints ended before. For a moment, everything was silent again. Then the door handle moved slightly, just a small movement, like someone gently testing it. The door was locked. I had locked it earlier. The handle stopped moving, and for a few seconds, nothing happened. Then a quiet voice spoke from the hallway. The same calm voice I had heard upstairs. Right through the door. So you finally noticed. I didn't answer. I couldn't. My throat felt tight. The voice continued. Almost amused. You usually sleep through it. My stomach twisted. Sleep through what? Then the voice said something that made my blood run cold. Something that changed the entire situation. Don't worry. I only used the shower for a few minutes. A long pause, then the person outside the door whispered one last sentence. "And you've never woken up before." The footsteps slowly walked away down the hallway. Dot, drip, dot, step, dot, drip, dot, step, dot, back toward the stairwell. I didn't open the door, dot, not that night, dot, not the next night either. 2 days later, campus security searched the 3rd floor. They didn't find anyone, but they did find something strange, something hidden in the maintenance room near the showers. A small sleeping area. Blankets, food wrappers, and empty water bottles. Someone had been living there for weeks, maybe longer. What the strangest part? They never found the person who was staying there. No one was ever caught. No one was ever identified. I moved out of that dorm a week later. I told myself it was over, that whoever had been up there was gone. But about a month after, I moved into my new apartment. I woke up suddenly in the middle of the night. For no reason at all. The room was dark. Quiet. Completely still. Then I checked my phone, and the time was 3:33 a.m., and from somewhere inside the apartment, I heard the sound of water hitting tile. A shower running. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk.